Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the market recap. All right, so we're going to hop into the news and then we'll go over some charts. So, firstly, we had a couple of reports today. So, the big news was mainly the consumer confidence numbers came out and they actually did not beat, which was expected. So, the forecast was 105.9, as you can see right here. And what ended up coming in was 102.5. And again, not good news, but it was in expectations. So it didn't really cause too many issues in regards to the market's reactions. So they absorbed that, and actually the markets have turned very, very bullish today. So not too bad on the markets, but going forward, we are going to want to see eventually consumer confidence going up as we go into the holiday season. If we keep these numbers, as they are, or they start decreasing, that's a really bad sign for the economy and just further evidence of significant economic slowdown. The next things that we're going to be seeing after the bell today are some big earnings reports. We have Visa, we have Microsoft, and then we have Alphabet. So we have Google, Microsoft, and Visa. These three are going to be big, especially Microsoft, and especially Google. They're going to be big earnings reports, and whatever comes out from this is going to have pretty large effects on the rest of this week. There are some expectations that Google's going to miss, Microsoft's going to miss, and Visa's going to miss, especially Visa. But as long as it's not too far off the spectrum of what's expected in the miss, it shouldn't be that big a problem going into the end of the week. But if it's a bit of a shock, we could probably see some craziness after hours. So we'll definitely keep our eye on that, and make sure you keep your eye on the news that's coming out of those earnings reports. And then in the coming days, we'll go over it as it happens. But tomorrow is going to be a big deal because we have the U.S. new home sales and we have the crude oil inventories. Okay, so the home sales are going to be big because, in my opinion, the real estate market is showing signs of topping. And once the numbers start coming in that, hey, the home sales are just completely crashing, it's going to kind of really solidify that mindset. And that's not a good thing if you want the status quo to remain. Once the home sales start showing significant dips from forecast, we're going to start seeing some big issues in real estate. And then the crude oil inventory is going to be very interesting. As you know, if you're in the U.S., we are running very low in our inventories. I believe we have I want to say 16 to 14 more days of diesel fuel in inventory because Biden seems to not want to have any oil. So that's going to cause some issues. But it doesn't mean we're not going to have oil. It just means we're going to have to spend a lot more money to get more oil. But we keep using our reserves. So seeing the numbers that may come in, it's going to be very interesting tomorrow. We'll see how this turns out. That'll be at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. All right, so now let's hop into the charts. And so far, the dollar has been performing exactly as we've kind of mapped out, right? Had the high that came up towards this major resistance level, had a retracement, came back to the support level, and then made what I would consider a new lower high, and now it's going to attempt to break under this low to actually confirm a changing trend, or at least a pause in the current trend for the foreseeable future. So just like I said in the last recap, we want to watch to see, are we going to take out this low pivot down here, or are we going to kind of trade into this ascending trend line and hold it steady? In my opinion, we're going to break under, and we're probably going to break down to 108 eventually. If we have a very lackluster drop, or there's just a lot of bad news that starts propping up the dollar as we're coming towards this level, look for 110 to be the level to hold, okay? But in my opinion, the probabilities are showing us we should see some downside going to 108, okay? This trend line is very steep. It's really not likely to hold much longer. However, this ascending trend line up here, down here, is actually very strong, and I do expect this to hold for the long term. So we want to see this one break so we can have our Q4 rally in both crypto and stocks, and then eventually we're going to come down to this zone, maybe this zone, and we'll start messing around this zone here, and then eventually the dollar will likely find its strength once more and break up from these levels. Okay, so that's what we want to see in the short term. In the long term, of course, we would all love to see the dollar drop, but that does not seem to be in the cards, both fundamentally, geopolitically, and in the charts. It doesn't show any signs of any long-term trend change happening here, at least not yet. At least not yet. All right, so next let's take a look at the Dow. So the US 30. So again, doing exactly as we've been, kind of expecting, how we've mapped it out. Another bullish day. We're likely coming into this trend line here. We'll see if we can actually get enough fuel to pop through. In my opinion, we won't. In my opinion, what's likely going to happen is we're going to continue up. I think this week is going to be overall bullish. We may have a bearish 1 or 2 days, but I do think this week will be overall bullish. We'll get towards this level around 32,000, 32,200, 300, around this zone, and then we'll probably find a ceiling. Okay, doesn't mean we're gonna actually not break through, but I do see at least a consolidation or a retracement back to grab some liquidity that's under these levels here, or at least to just eat up as much of this displacement that's forming as we speak. As we come back down to then eventually find the fuel to break through this level. All right. If we do not break through the level, then just look at my original path as I've kept on the charts since the beginning. So essentially, you'll have price come back towards this trend line over and over and over and keep failing off of it. That's definitely a possibility, and that's only if the Fed doesn't really weaken their stance on raising rates, right? It's okay if they continue to raise rates, but if they continue to raise rates at the same rate they're raising, this path is likely going to happen. Okay, nothing's going to really break out in the stock market to a significant degree with longevity if the Fed is going to hold fast on raising 75 basis points. Okay, if we start lessening it, we're going 50, 25, and they start just having a little bit more of a dovish outlook, then we can start seeing some extended rallies, some nice bear market rallies in the equity markets, and then that would also contribute to any crypto rallies that may happen as well. Let's get on to the S&P next. So S&P, again, continuing its move upside. I do see it getting towards 3963.9 and potentially higher, revisiting 4,000. I actually do see S&P getting towards the 4,000 mark. I do see that having a bit of a significant resistance for the S&P to break. But again, it's the same story with the S&P as is with the Dow. If we do start having a retracement or some sort of bullish consolidation there, look for that level to break and then for the liquidity above this level to get taken out. But as of now, everything is going the exact way we've mapped out so far. All right. Next is the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, same thing, bounced off the median, descending line of this descending channel, and now it's approaching the top end of the channel. If you're a member in the Discord of the Swing Trade Group, I'm starting to continue to kind of transition short as we're approaching resistance levels in certain assets, and that includes the US indexes. As they're approaching these levels, I'm going to be looking to add on to short ETFs and such. So if you're in the Swing Trade Group, you're starting to see that. You've definitely gotten some alerts from me from today. So be ready for that to happen. But again, as we're rising, I'm also closing out the longs we've been sitting in. So it's just a slow transition short from us being majority long, right? So if you're not in the Swing Trade Group, I implore you to check it out. I mean, it's only $15 a month. I've only had one loss in the year, and it's been extremely good today. I believe we actually closed 3 or 4 trades today. It's all winners. It's been a very, very good year, my best year so far. So just make sure to check that out if you're interested. $15 a month. And so we'll be looking at the NASDAQ as it approaches the top line of this ascending channel. But in my opinion, it will eventually break it, just like the S&P, just like the Dow. It will eventually break it and get towards the green zone, as it approaches these resistances. And the thing about the NASDAQ, though, it may actually just break right through and then start consolidating, because the NASDAQ percentage-wise is always a bit overextended compared to the S&P and the Dow. Okay, so you just look for a little bit more overextensions when things rise and drop in the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at oil. Take a quick look at oil. So oil sitting on this on the support level of 84.50, we'll say 84.48. Again, pretty much expected, but what I do like about it is it's potentially showing a bottoming structure. So what have we seen from the time it hit this resistance zone I have up here around 120? Came down, sold off, kind of just slowly grinded down, right? and then broke this ascending trend line, which again was very steep, so that was not unexpected. Then broke into these support levels. This was a decent support at 84.50, got very close to a major level at 74.75, and then now look what happened. It broke under this low, made a new low, then had a rally breaking this high, and now potentially we're making a higher low. Okay, so if this can confirm and we start trading above this level here, well, guess what we may be looking at? Another run back towards 96 and maybe even $100. So again, I don't think that this is the bottom of this drop from this rally here, from this trend. I do think we do go lower towards the $60 level, but if we don't, this is, like I said in the last recap, we're in the zone where it's totally natural. If this is the bottom from the drop, this corrective drop from this trend, and we do break higher, it's totally natural. Okay, we've retraced to the 38.2. It's absolutely natural. We could definitely continue this larger trend to the upside, and there will be no issues. But I do see there being a little bit more downside as we approach this resistance level, and we do make a larger bullish consolidation. And what do I mean by that? Pretty much take the trend line from this peak up here to this peak right here and pull forward. Okay, so what I'm seeing is as we approach this trend line here, this horizontal level here at 103.36, and then kind of trade within this zone, we're going to start making a very large flaggish pattern. Okay, a very, very large flaggish pattern on oil, and that's going to likely lead to what I've been saying, multiple years of upside. Okay, you're going to have multiple years of upside after this consolidation breaks to the upside, which it's most probable to do. It is most probable to break to the upside. So watch as we come back up towards this level. We'll probably find resistance and fail off of it, and then trade back down. We'll see if we're going to break lower towards the 75 again and then lower towards 60, or if we're going to just make another higher low on the smaller time frame and then make another move to break this descending trend line. Once this descending trend line from these two pivots up here are broken, it's to the races for oil. It's gonna likely break past the 130 mark. Okay, it's going to break past this high pivot and reach 130 and break through, in my opinion. So be very, very vigilant on oil. This is brewing to possibly be a massive move, a massive continuation after we can break this descending trend line. But if you're buying down here, it's golden. It's absolutely golden, because we're looking at potentially a move towards the top side. Doesn't mean we're going to break the top side, but a move towards the top side is absolutely a great trade if you're looking to target these higher levels at 90s to 100 to maybe even 106. What's next? Let's take a quick look at gold and silver. There's not really that much to update on these two. So they're still in their structures. Nothing's really changed for them. For gold, what I would say is you could look for accumulation, or you could be looking to play the breakout. I would look for the breakout. The reason why I would look for the breakout is mainly because there's so much stuff happening. There's so many stocks that are exploding. There's so much crypto you can trade. There's just a lot more other assets that are moving faster that it might be better to focus on them. But once you get the breakout of this level, you're likely going to get a nice explosion eventually. So what I mean by that is once this level breaks, you'll likely get a breakout. And then if you confirm that breakout, you'll likely have a retracement, so you can play the breakout and the retracement. And once this confirms and finds the field to break through, watch for an extended move up. You're likely going to have an extended move up, because we have to respect, when it comes to gold, that the market is bullish. Okay, there is a change of character though for the daily chart of gold, but the overall market is bullish. All right, so we want to watch for a move once we break this trend line back above towards these levels here. Okay, so once these levels are visited, if they fail here or here, then we're going to be looking for this low here potentially, if let's just say we break out today or tomorrow, these lows here to then be taken out in the months to come. If these levels are taken out, then you're going to likely see all of this get taken out. All the liquidity there get taken out, and then potentially a triple top, but that's very unlikely. It's very, very rare you get a triple top once you have a structure like this. It's either they're going to fail off of these levels here, or they're just going to break through and continue the trend higher. All right. In my opinion, what's likely going to happen, we are going to fail here or here and then break down. But even so, you want to look at gold on a much larger time frame. It breaking down from those levels is only coming back towards this long-term trend line. I think I had it up in the last recap video. Hopefully I drew that. No, I did not draw it correctly. Forgive me. I have the magnet on, so the magnet kind of messes me up sometimes. Let's keep it. Let's just put it right here. It's that's actually correct. It's gonna bug me. Let me take the magnet off. So pretty much what you're looking to see is pretty much a trend line from right here. It's the very beginning of the trend. There we go. So right here. Okay, so that's what's likely going to happen. If we start failing off of those levels on the daily and technically the weekly, you'll come down to this monthly level here, which is around like 1300, 1200. It depends on how quickly it would drop. All right, because you gotta look, the monthly also lost these low wicks as well. So this is likely going to happen sort of like this, break through this trend line, come up to this level or this level and break down, right? Break down and then continue that cycle where we're just making lower highs, lower lows, and then eventually make it towards this trend line here. And that's when you want to look for the continuation of the long-term trend, okay? If this level's lost, right? If this level's lost, then look for this level here, these lows, to potentially get taken out, or at least look to accumulate there. I would look to accumulate there, all right? Silver, let's see here. So silver, let's go down to the daily real quick. All right, so, still in that expanding structure like I mentioned in the last recap. So, we're just looking at this expanding structure. It's just this microphone structure. Really not much else you can really do here. It is ascending as well. It made a higher low. But once that higher low is once this trend line is taken out, look for the bottom of the microphone structure to get tested. So be very careful here. If you start losing this level, you're probably coming all the way down towards $17 and potentially even lower. But overall, it's not bad. I do like what I'm seeing. Again, if gold starts breaking out, silver should follow. But last time, it actually really didn't follow that much. So gotta be very careful with silver. It's been underperforming quite a bit this year. And that's mostly because of its industrial use case. It's become so much more important industrial-wise, for solar panels and a whole bunch of technology, phones and etc. That the price needs to be really, really stable. So its speculative side has been really, really hampered down because of that. So keep that in mind if you're trading silver. There's a lot of fundamental stuff that's keeping it very, very low in price and keeping it relatively stable. Anything else I want to go over? I think that's about it for that. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's having one hell of a day. Again, if you're not on our swing trade service, you are missing out. I mean, we are absolutely in awesome position now. We're absolutely killing it. I mean, I'm looking very forward to what this looks like, this potential breakout. So if you were watching the last recap, I had said watch out for Bitcoin because it's potentially going to begin that breakout from this squeeze that it's been in. And what do we have here? Exactly that, right? We have the breakout potentially beginning here. You could even say it began its breakout in this candle here, but if you want to be conservative, consider this the first candle to potentially break out. If we have another daily candle above this high or the high of the day that may form, then watch for that confirmation. And what are we going to first challenge? Well, first we're going to be looking to look for these displacement levels, this FFG level to fill out. So the high side is 21,559.45. And then if that's taken out, look for this high pivot here, the liquidity that's resting up above that to get taken out. And then if that's taken out, then we have a bunch of FFGs that we're going to be targeting. So obviously right here's a larger one that kind of overlaps this one here. And then we have this one over here that I'm really eyeing. This is what's got my eye quite a bit. This level right here. And the reason why this has my eye, this FFG up here, it's because the liquidity that's pulled above this level here will get completely wiped out if we come towards even the bottom side of this FFG or if we fill it out completely. So this is what I want to see. I want to see price continue what it's doing now, potentially confirming that Adam and Eve double bottom, right? So we have Adam here, here's Eve, who's a little bit higher. And now if we start taking out this low level, this low pivot, high pivot here, we confirm a change of character potentially, and then we start eating away at this small displacement, and then we try and make a move above this level here, and then we fail off of here, coming back, and then potentially making another higher low to then go higher. Okay, so that's what we want to see. And there's even more up here, that hasn't been taken out. It's a ton of liquidity that's pulled up here as well. So we have potentially the beginning of a fairly significant rise in Bitcoin, which obviously means a fairly significant rise in crypto. Okay, so be on the lookout for what Bitcoin does. If we start failing off of here, then hey, it'll suck. But all that means is we're going to continue our consolidation. Even if we were to fail off, let's say right here, let's say we closed here, and then the next day we pretty much sold off and we came back towards this trend line, as long as we hold the top side of this trend line, you can actually argue that this is a bullish retest of this level and then an eventual breakout. However, my argument would be it's not that bullish if we start taking out these low wicks down here and we end up taking out this low wick here. Okay, so we are a bit on the clock. We need to see Bitcoin have follow through here. If there's no follow through here, I'm going to be extremely skeptical that we're going to have a significant rally in crypto past this day or this week and so forth. Okay, all right, everyone, that's it for the market recap. I hope you're having a great day. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure to message me on the Discord. If you want to become a member, check out the Patreon. The link is in the description below, or in the Discord, there's actually a Patreon tab, a Patreon link tab where you can go and check out the Patreon page from there. $15 a month for the swing trade service. I recommend the swing trade service since it's very affordable and it's a very, very high win rate. And if you do want to learn to trade like me, it's quite simple, but it does take some time to get your eyes used to it, and I believe that I can get you on the right path in about 3 to 4 sessions. It's $100 per session, but you can pay for the month, where you get $300, you get 4 sessions, so you save $100 if you pay for the month. Okay, all right, everyone, take care, and remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care.